horror games scare the absolute crap out of me. Now don't get me wrong, I love horror media. Movies, manga, general horrific themes, and even Let's Plays where other people are getting scared for me. But actually being there in that terrifying environment that you may or may not be able to escape from is nightmare fuel. Even in games without any jump scares, the sheer unnerving energy of seeing a humanoid creature at night is enough for me to avoid playing it. Now multiplayer horror games also scare me, but for a completely different reason. Because I hate talking to people.
Hello, friend. Mighty fine weather we're having today.
Leave me alone! But on a cold September night, I was contacted by a friend to play some games for a video about mobile horror games. What happened next was so insane, so chaotic, that we decided to make it its own video. So today, me and a few friends are gonna run through some multiplayer mobile horror games to see if working as a team is more helpful than going through these horrors alone. Viewer beware, you're in for a scare. And yes, this is a late Halloween special. Two paranormal researchers in hazmat suits are using an elevator. They're approaching the 4th floor with one goal in mind: to look for 14 items with possible spiritual interference. The reward? $3 million. But what these men don't know is that if they're not careful, they may never leave this place alive. This is the phenomenon. But what exactly are they looking for? According to the introduction, 14 flasks of old medical researchers. Wait, are the researchers in the flasks? I mean, that does seem pretty paranormal. Now that I think about it, there's a lot of paranormal stuff going on with this game.
I love how our hands are frozen in place, but our bodies are constantly moving.
After the game drops multiple paragraphs of text, it's time to explore the...
Okay. Oh, someone just screamed. Bro, I'm dead.
Devil, I must run.
I'm dead.
I can't see anything. Okay, so whatever that was has temporarily blinded me. And... oh... it's one of those games. So after the ghost kinda just disappeared, it's time to get back to searching. We approach a door, but we need a key card. Searching the rooms, it's clear this hospital has been abandoned for many years. In fact, it's likely traces of asbestos were in the building, as at one point while playing it, I coughed. I can really appreciate the environmental storytelling here. How the furniture around you isn't just rusted and decrepit, but is also in disarray. Bed frames are damaged, counters are in the middle of the hallway, tables are flipped, and debris is littered across the floor. It's clear that this place wasn't just abandoned, but evacuated. Sure, the paranormal phenomenon is also haunting the building, but in another sense, the building is haunted by the people that were there before. Perhaps the ghost we saw earlier is a dead patient still clinging on to the mortal realm. It's probably not worth looking too deeply into this game though, because I'm stuck.
Do I really want to go in these rooms?
Am I?
Oh.
Am I fucking stuck? Continuing to secure the area, we eventually found one of the items, and we're told to return it to the suitcase in the elevator. Unfortunately, the spooky, scary ghost appeared and ruined our run. This was just the first chapter of the game. I'm not sure how many there are, we didn't make it very far, but the game itself seems fine enough. If I'm an expert on anything, it's definitely not what makes a good horror game, because a lot of the appeal of horror comes from that feeling of helplessness. It's the adrenaline rush that makes us feel alive. But on the other hand, helplessness also leads to frustration. There's nothing worse than losing a game due to factors you can't control. Was it my fault when the ghost woman blinded me before murdering me? Where was I supposed to run if I can't even see what's in front of me? Either way, this one's decently polished and is definitely a game. Freezing to death is terrifying, and the only thing worse than freezing to death alone is freezing to death with friends. In Gora, 3 of the exact same man are stranded in some sort of snowy tundra. We were driving our van, but all of the tires mysteriously exploded. Oh no! Luckily for us, we aren't playing as a normal man. This guy might as well be a superhero. Honestly, you couldn't believe how much strength it would take someone to jump without like moving their legs down. Like that's actually kind of...
This guy has a fucking sleeper build.
So we need to look around for parts to repair our vehicle. The characters look like such a dipshit when they're holding the tires.
They just look like dipshits, period.
We eventually found a lone house by the base of the mountain. But before we could enter, we were attacked by some strange alien creatures. These are never explained, they just spawn in and follow you around sometimes. While the phenomenon was a lot more confined, Gora's open-endedness sets its own tone. It also differs in the sense of helplessness. Unlike the phenomenon, which leaves you with no defenses, Gora isn't afraid to just give you a gun, and I'll be real, this one really isn't scary. Like, at all. Well, besides that one time. What the fuck? What the fuck was that? After killing the aliens, it began snowing. While I found the shotgun in the house, I somehow managed to miss the coats, which would have completely solved the problem here. This game is like a weird mix of Call of Duty zombies and natural disaster survival on Roblox. In this world, you have to fight for survival, not just against the alien horde, but also the very elements around you. Eventually, we made it back to the house, where we had to interpret a map made by a kindergartner. Following the map, we found a shed with some anomalous propane. If you go close to it, the building vanishes. Maybe it's some sort of ghost. Actually, the collision in this game as a whole just isn't very good.
Look up, I'm on top of you. I'm on the building.
Oh yeah, what the hell?
Hey guys. What are you doing? I'm jumping. Whee! Hey guys, what's up?
Then we found the exit area, but for some reason we still need the car.
Okay.
Why do we need a car? Let's just go on foot.
Yeah, that's what we've been doing so far, and it's been working out.
Idiots.
Unless there's another more powerful enemy that shows up later on.
Tower.
There's a lot of great. Oh fuck, what the fuck? Holy shit.
I have mixed thoughts on this one. There was clearly a vision in mind, and that vision is actually pretty interesting. The only issue is that I feel like it was made too early in the designer's career. The concept was too ambitious, especially considering something as simple as the collision barely even works as intended. I appreciate the variety so far though. Asylum 77 is a game about escaping an asylum, who would have guessed. To admit ourselves into the asylum, we first have to give it our personal info.
I am 104 years old.
This game seems to be a worse version of Piggy, where we have to escape an area looking for multicolored keys while avoiding powerful infected. After joining a server, the first thing in front of me is a shotgun. Characters and grabbable items are placed on a higher layer than the darkness, which is a little trippy at first, but it's actually pretty cool. It makes these important items more noticeable at a glance. After getting the shotgun, the first thing I did was kill a monster.
Oh shit. Oh, nice.
I went.
It's kind of weird that dealing with the enemies gets easier and easier every game. But that wasn't the only enemy. Actually, there are many, many more across the asylum. And bear traps are littered all over the floor.
Did I step in them?
Yes.
Do you want to?
I need footage.
You do a little jig.
That's what you do.
After getting caught in too many traps, we had to put him out of his misery. Filled with guilt and anger, I took it out on the rest of the monsters. We played another map too. This one looked like the back rooms, and some other nerd joined, and we used peer pressure to get him to leave.
Let's sabotage his ass. He's not allowed in our game.
Block it, bro. Fucking block his ass. Oh, he left. Okay.
We did it! Yeah!
This one has you picking up rocks and using them to stun the monsters while you make your grand escape. If you haven't noticed by now, this game isn't scary at all. Low poly graphics can make an excellent conduit for horror, but this isn't an example of that. The characters move around with these goofy animations, and the monsters aren't scary at all. Even when they corner you, they're so slow that you could just walk around them.
Wait.
Oh, you want me to open the door?
Wait.
I'm so good at this video game.
So yeah, this one's not good. Now this one is actually a very interesting game, and that's because it didn't work. I couldn't connect to a game, and it kept giving me ads for some The Last of Us ripoff, so I couldn't actually play it. The last game is called Mimicry, but because we're illiterate, we kept calling it Mimicry.
Mimicry.
And also, I will continue to call it Mimicry because it's funny. Unlike the other games in this video, this entire game was built around the multiplayer rather than having that as an additional feature. And compared to all the other games, it's actually pretty polished. At least, about as polished as these games can get, generally being pretty consistent. Besides the ugly stretched out pictures in the tutorial, I also like that this game has a role-playing element. A lot like SCP, where you can play a role in the game's world. Here it goes a level deeper, and allows you to create an entire custom character. We absolutely abused that for comedy.
Are you Dippy?
Yeah, I'm Dippy.
Why is your hair fucking ugly? God, we're so ugly.
So let's go around the fucking campfire
We all look so
and
fucking
let's say the
cute. We have
lore
to
of our
get-
characters. Sam, what's your lore? Who's sour male?
Found Vietnam, World War One, World War Three, and called Black Ops Zombies.
Thank you for your service.
Yo,
Bernie
true patriot.
Domble Z. Why do you look like me?
So I'm actually your interdimensional clone. I work at Best Buy and I give free coupons on Halloween.
This game has been around for quite a while, and we could tell because the Battle Pass is on Season 26. Sadly, I'm not a real OG. I don't have the cowboy skin. No! This game is like a mix of Among Us and Friday the 13th the game, all with the setting of The Thing. The gameplay actually captures that isolation scene in the movie pretty well, following the same design of similar games. The tasks are a good way of getting players to split up and be vulnerable. The only issue is that there's seemingly nothing stopping the monster from just going mask off and killing everyone. In Friday the 13th, you can gang up and bully Jason. In Among Us, the imposter can get voted out. These are meant to prevent the monster from being too imbalanced. You can't just vote out or beat up the Mimic, and because of that, this whole thing becomes a game of cat and mouse with some of the longest and most boring tasks ever. It actually makes me respect Among Us a lot more. At least in that game, the tasks are generally simple, taking as little as 5 to 10 seconds, and they're decently fun minigames on their own. This whole game just seems like someone looked at those other games, and then copied it over haphazardly while not properly translating anything. Ironically enough, it's a poor Mimicry of better titles that came before it. As for its horror factor, the ideas presented are interesting, because the ideas presented have been done before and better. Each and every one of the apps in this video are different games going for different types of horror. I think that variety is really interesting. The horror genre as a whole can't be pigeonholed into any specific vision, and likewise, the use of multiplayer can also change from game to game. The games even varied in playability, from polished games to barely functioning games to games that didn't even work at all. The App Store is filled with variety, and I think that's pretty cool. Doesn't mean I'd recommend any of these games though. See ya!
Okay, there. I think that's good.
Fuck, get out of here, Doctor.
Yeah, what the heck, Dr. Mill? What the fuck? What's wrong with you? What the hell?
But did I start too far away from you, think?
No, I think it's fine.